Hi guys, this is Vitaly with AFT Dispatch and A2C Logistics, and in today's video, I'd like to speak with you about Trump's tariffs and the next 18 months for truckers. But first, roll the intro. Welcome back. Before we get started, I'd like to ask you to please like the video, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a single release of our videos, where every Friday we're talking about something that could benefit you in your trucking businesses and your trucking careers, as well as cover the loads we've successfully booked for our customers, consisting of leased owner operators and carriers operating under their own MC authorities, running under our truck dispatch services. As always, guys, big thank you for all the likes you provided in all the previous videos. Please do keep them coming. And let's talk about the next 18 months with Trump's tariffs going into effect. I'll break this down to the first 3 to 6 months, which would be your short-term effects, your midterms of 6 to 12 months, and then all the long-term effects of 12 to 18 months down the road, up to a year and a half down the road. And changes we will see, we've talked about this ad nauseum before Trump's winning the presidential seat during the entire election cycle. We looked at different possibilities of what could happen between one president winning versus another. We've explored this to no end. And once Trump became president, we knew that tariffs are going to affect. We've explored it even further at that point. And I really think that now we're going to see these things actually going into effect, now that they have and will be going into effect by the time you watch this video. And at the end of the day, what it's all really going to come down to is a question of demand and whether or not the American consumer is going to be able to pull the weight. And you'll see what I mean by that. Let's start off with the short-term effects, guys. Short-term, we're talking 3 to 6 months down the road. What can truckers expect? Well, at the beginning, we talked about front loading, right? Freight surging, companies trying to take advantage of lower costs before the tariffs stabilize, before even figuring out what the tariffs will be, and it would front load. Now that was prior to the end of the year, so a lot of companies were also trying to close out their fourth quarter. Now a lot of companies leave it to the first quarter, but they didn't really want to put it into a position where, what if tariffs went into effect sooner than that? Now it looks like since it's April, we're going to be going into further into the year with additional changes and exacerbations. So this falls within that 3 to 6 month period. Short term, you're looking at freight surges due to front loading, companies pre-ordering, making changes to their ordering structure. And we did see that, and we continue to see that as it slowly peters out. Now the midterm, we're looking at 6 to 12 months basically from now. 6 to 12 months from now, you're looking at import costs rising and demand, unfortunately, dropping. The chances are that the consumer spending will fall and thus lowering freight volume. That basically says, listen, take advantage of what we got going on right now in the freight markets, because just like the corona pandemic, things go up, you make a ton of money, but things will go down. A lot of folks at the top just spend. They didn't set aside any of those funds, any of that truck money. And when things, became more and more difficult, a lot of these guys went out of business. Don't let that happen to you again, okay? Now, consumer spending would potentially fall. This lowers freight volumes, tonnage goes down, availability goes down, the number of trucks remains the same, or prices obviously go down. Supply chain disruptions tend to lead to routing and additional cost changes as companies start to scramble for trying to figure out, what are we doing? How are we doing? Are we changing suppliers? Are we changing our routing? Are we changing how we do business, how we manufacture? We put these things together for the public. And so what we're looking at that point is economic uncertainty and delays to investments by different firms, because they just don't know what they're going to be doing. Now, mainly these investments groups are going to be in freight-related sectors. So this is, additionally important to the trucking industry, to carriers, owner-operators, and even company drivers, because a lot of the smaller carriers will find themselves in a pickle, between a rock and a hard place. And one of the first places to go is to get rid of the drivers in order to reduce operating costs, to be able to keep their head above water. So this will affect, midterm, pretty much, all of trucking across the board. Now, when we're looking at the long-term effects, like I said, 12 to 18 months down the road. Now, it might not last that long. The U.S. economy is quite large, and under the pressure of the current tariffs, a lot of the smaller countries with smaller economies may not be able to withstand this, and so these tariffs may end, be rescinded, and rolled back. But if that's not the case, 12 to 18 months down the road from now, companies will have come about their wits. They will figure out what they're doing. We're talking new trade routes. We're talking domestic lanes, showing up and forming. Some things may disappear. Some things you may be used to, some lanes that you may be used to that are making you lots of money might disappear, but new ones will appear. New lanes will form. However, with all of this, within the next 18 months, we're looking at a potential, recession, and stagflation could reduce freight rates. So again, if the demand's not there and the number of trucks remains approximately the same, or maybe it's, adding into the industry, or the ones that are leaving at a very slow rate, then you're going to have issues with freight rates. Namely freight rates going down. So again, take advantage of what the market has to offer now, because it's probably going to decline into that direction. So generally, inflation drives costs up. Many people do believe that ultimately tariffs are a tax on the people, because that's who foots the bill. But ultimately, it's demand that decides rates, right? So if the demand's not there, ordering goes down, freight availability also goes down, and that hurts, every one of us in the trucking industry. And finally, guys, there's a thing called what's called a legacy effect. So what the legacy effect says is that basically, let's say 18 months down the road, they roll back, they rescind these tariffs, and things go back to normal. Well, they don't actually go back to normal. They actually change quite permanently within the country that's setting these tariffs, because supply chains and industry, generally the costs may never fully revert, because we will have at that point already established domestic manufacturing, different trade routes, different types of ways for companies and organizations to pivot to get out of these tariffs and to make their businesses work. So once they've done that, they may not be able to revert those, at that point, permanent changes. Guys, would love to hear from you. What do you think? We've definitely been on top of this topic from way before the presidency was called. And like I said, into it, and we'll continue to discuss this. This is a very big topic. For now, the numbers look good. We have a lot of customers bringing in a lot of money. Guys from previous weeks, you'll see their names again this week. They're really doing well. So I'd love to hear from you in the comment section below. If you have a chance, please smash the like button. If you haven't done so, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. I'll switch over the camera. We'll look over the loads we booked for our customers, and I'll see you guys in just a moment. Welcome back. Let's take a look at some of these loads. Guys, this week we have vans and reefers. Everyone did quite well. We got some repeat names from last week, so they're doing quite well. And I got to highlight some excellent dispatching on the work of dispatch. Very, very efficient, very low number of deadhead miles, and in many cases making well over $1,000 and making a ton of money in just 6 days rather than a week or longer. So let's get going. One of these guys' name is Tariq. He's pulling a dry van coming out of Greenville, North Carolina, with a 1-pig 3-dropper going to Bolingbrook, Illinois, Twin Falls, Idaho, and a final in Meridian, Idaho. It's a 25,000-pound load of forklifts, quite light to begin with multiple drops, making it lighter and lighter. Lots of miles, 2,598 loaded miles, booked out at $49.50, got him $1.91 to get out there. Now, out of Boise, Idaho, a little bit of deadhead there, back to Meridian, Idaho, took a light load, 5,900 pounds of protein shakes, only 10 miles of running. Booked at a $35 a mile. That got him $350. That's pretty good. $35 a mile, just 10 miles, and good to go. Next, took a load out of Paul, Idaho to Great Falls, Montana. It's a 44,000-pound load of chemical products. It was a non-hazmat load. 484 loaded miles, booked at $1,600, guys. That's $331 a loaded mile for a bunch of miles. Then Great Falls, Montana to Galata, Montana. It's a 2,205 pound load, granular biostimulant. It's a fertilizer, so just 2,200 pound load, 109 loaded miles, booked at $1,100. Way to go. That's $10.09 a loaded mile. Absolutely an excellent job. Tariq ran for a week, Friday to Friday, grossed exactly $8,000 in 7 days, ran exactly 3,200 loaded miles, had only 21 miles of deadhead in total. That's out of 3,200 loaded, guys, which got him $250 a loaded mile. And with deadhead included, that was $248. So in total, he only lost 2 pennies, and it was 3,201 loaded miles. So an excellent job, Tariq. Way to go, sir. Excellent numbers. Very efficient. Way to go. Next, we're going to jump on to Mike. This is an interesting one. This is going to be a reefer. It's just one load, ran for 6 days, coming out of Boring, Oregon, with it looks like a 1-pick 7 dropper going to McFaytown, Pennsylvania, Quarryville, PA, Reedsville, PA, Manheim, PA, New Holland, PA, Newtown Square, PA, and a final in Ivyland, Pennsylvania. So it's a 38,000 pound load, 7 drops. It's a load of nursery, so they keep getting lighter and lighter. Temperature was set maintained at 45 degrees continuous on this load. It's 2,950 loaded miles, booked at $7,600. Got him an easy $258 a loaded mile. An excellent job. It was 6 days on the road. Mike ran this like a champ. $7,600 in gross. Obviously 0 deadhead. 2,950 loaded miles. Got him a $258 a loaded mile. 6 days of work. Excellent money, and I bet you they'll get you out of PA in no time. Next we got Marat in his dry van. He's got a load coming out of Alexandria, Minnesota, going to Schertz, Texas. It's a 42,000 pound load of coffee and related items. It's a longer run, 1,268 loaded miles, booked out at $2,600. Got him $205 a loaded mile. Let's take a look. Next, he took a lighter load, 6,500 pound load of cleaning products coming out of Laredo, Texas, going to Lakeland, Florida. Not a long run, 1,286 loaded miles, booked at $3,900. Got him $303 a loaded mile, coming out to Florida. And that was it. 6 days on the road, Monday to Sunday, $6,500 in gross. 2,554 loaded miles, 120 deadhead miles is all they ran. That's 255 a loaded mile. Got him down to 243 with deadhead included. And, an absolutely excellent job. 6 days of working, great average, great miles, and overall not very heavy loads. Ends up in Florida, and hopefully he'll be able to take a day or two to enjoy himself. Marat works very, very hard. So way to go, sir. Next, moving on to Milagres, pulling a reefer coming out of Warren, Ohio. It's a 1-pick 2 dropper to Fort Worth, Texas, and Lubbock, Texas. Your final. It's a 8,515 pound load, very light load of snack foods. 1,552 loaded miles of $3,000 got you $193 a loaded mile. Then Farwell, Texas, going to Tulsa, Arizona. It's a 41,000 pound load of eggs and egg substitutes at 38 degrees on a reefer. 658 loaded miles, booked at $1,850. Got on 281 a loaded mile. Then Phoenix, Arizona, coming out to San Antonio, Texas, another light load, 9,360 pounds of grocery foods. It was 0 to -10 degrees on a reefer. 981 loaded miles, booked at $2,100. Got him $214 a loaded mile. All respectable money. Friday to Friday, 7 days on a road. Milagres ended up grossing $6,950 in gross. Ran 3,191 loaded miles and ended up with only 102 deadhead miles. That brings this grand total to 218 a loaded mile. Drops him down to 211 with deadhead included, around 3,191 loaded miles, and just under $7,000 on that. Very, very well done, sir. Moving on to Alan, running a reefer coming out of Papillon in Nebraska, going to Wilsonville, Oregon. It's a light load, 17,000 pounds of food products at -10 continuous. It's 1,663 loaded miles. Got it booked at 3,450, and I got him 207 a loaded mile. Then he had 3 picks out of Woodburn, Oregon, going to Papillon, Nebraska. It's a 16.5 load, very light load of nursery. Temperature was set at 45 to 49 degrees on a reefer. 1,691 loaded miles coming back out, booked at $3,400. Got him 201 a loaded mile. An excellent job. Friday to Thursday, 6 days on the road, $6,850 in gross, 3,354 loaded miles, only 16 miles of deadhead. Super efficient running. 204 loaded mile loaded, 203 with deadhead included. Absolutely fantastic job over 6 days, really good money, brought him right back home with very limited deadhead. And last but not least, we'll come down to manual pulling dry van coming out of Addison, Illinois, going to Jefferson City, Missouri. It's a light load, 8,260 pounds, dry goods, 388 loaded miles, booked at 950, got him 245 a loaded mile. Then Meta, Missouri, going to Marshfield, Wisconsin. It's a 44.5 load of pet food, 540 loaded miles, booked at $1,000, got him $185 on that one. Made up a difference out of Bryant, Wisconsin, going to Waterford, Pennsylvania. It's a load of potatoes, dry bulk, 45,000 pounds on a weight, 720 miles, booked at $2,000, got him $278 a loaded mile. And finished off at a Waterford, Pennsylvania, 0 deadhead, coming out to Fort Worth, Texas, a much better market. 9,850 pound light load of potato chips. It was kettle chips. 1,310 loaded miles to get him out of Pennsylvania. $2,140 booked, got him $163 per loaded mile. An excellent job. 6 days on a road. Manual ran Tuesday to Monday. Gross $6,090 in gross. 2,958 loaded miles. Only 122 deadhead miles in total. 6 days. Just over $6,000. Got 206 a loaded mile, and with deadhead included, dropping down to $195. An excellent job. One thing I got to notice here is much lighter freight than usual. The guys are definitely picking out the best freight, and definitely very limited deadhead miles, so very efficient driving and dispatching on everyone's part. Excellent job, guys. Way to go. Welcome back, and thanks for sticking around to the end. Guys, as you can see, this week's numbers are quite terrific. However, with Trump's tariffs going into effect, the next 18 months might be quite iffy. It's going to become increasingly more and more difficult for you to score the kind of loads that we've booked out here for our customers, that we've consistently shown you guys, whether good market or bad market, over the last 5 years or so. Now, truth be told, as it becomes more and more difficult, many of you guys will jump onto dispatch services. And as you know, everyone's a dispatcher nowadays, everyone's the best dispatcher nowadays, and everyone can make you a huge amount of money. We're the only dispatch company out there that's been actually showing you guys these numbers every week for the last 5 years, and have been in business for well over a decade. So would love to work with you guys. And the best news is that not only do we work with carriers who operate under their own MC authority, we also lease on owner operators. So if you'd love to learn more about either one of these programs, jump online on our website at aftdispatch.com, or send us a text or give us a call at 801-448-6363. And until next week, guys, stay healthy, be wealthy. Take care.